Hey man, you was in there standing up while you were eating. When they bumped down on you, they asked you, is you one of these five or is you a rapper? You said a rapper.
I thought I had Memphis rap all figured out. But the truth hits different when them cell doors slam shut. Everybody out here acting like these rappers untouchable, like they walking gods. But behind them federal walls, that fame don't shield you from nothing. Picture this, Pooh Shiesty, yeah, the same voice behind Back in Blood, now stuck in a place where nobody cares about streams or plaques. Rumors started flying that he was getting pressed in there, forced to entertain just to move smooth and eat without problems. That's a wild image, but it didn't stop there. Word on the street got even messier.
I got facts about these, man. Hey, man, I'm on your ass, man. You know what I'm talking about, man? Cause why, hold on, man.
People saying he was getting treated crazy, like his power vanished without that Draco by his side. Stories claimed he had to stand up while eating, like he was being checked, commissary getting taken, pressure coming from every angle. And when dudes stepped to him asking, you one of us or just a rapper? They say he folded quick. That kind of talk spreads fast and it hits hard. Now here's where it flips. A whole 32-year prison veteran jumped online, risking his name just to defend Pooh Shiesty.
You ain't stand up? You ain't sit down? When it was time to stand on business? So you let a nigga basically get you, man, made you stand up and eat your food. I thought you supposed to sit down and eat.
That's not just anybody talking. That's somebody who lived that life for real. What he said shook everything, made people question what's real and what's just noise, because suddenly the story wasn't so simple anymore. In Memphis, yeah, some folks seemed ready to tear their own down instead of seeing him win. This situation got layers stacked deep. Pooh Shiesty was sitting at the top, millions of streams, plaques shining, city behind him heavy. Then boom, 2021 hits, federal charges land, and everything shifts overnight. The same fans hyping him up started watching closely, wondering if that same energy could survive behind bars. And that's when the story started leaking.
Man, he got the internet fool, man. That nigga a hoe in jail, man. That nigga a buster, nigga. And I can get the penitentiary on the phone, nigga. For real.
Not the polished image people expected, but raw, messy allegations that could ruin a rapper's whole reputation. To really get it, you gotta rewind to when Pooh Shiesty first walked into that federal system. But before all that, people were already locked in, watching every move like it was a movie. Back in 2021, he was on fire. Back in Blood with Lil Durk had the internet going crazy. Folks were calling him the next king out of Memphis. But that Miami situation caught up quick. No escaping that. By January 2022, he took a plea, one count tied to firearms connected to serious situations.
Pooh Shiesty is facing prison time after pleading guilty to a gun charge in Miami federal court. The case against Lontrell Williams Jr. stems from 3 shootings during the past 2 years, 2 of them happening right here in South Florida.
Government wanted 10. Lawyers worked it down to 63 months. Still serious time. And this wasn't no small holding spot. This was federal prison. Different rules, different pressure. In there, your name don't mean nothing unless you can stand on it. Politics run deep, gangs, regions, affiliations. And when somebody like Pooh Shiesty walks in, everybody watching to see where he fits. That's where things got wild. Stories started spreading saying he wasn't moving like his music suggested. Allegations started stacking up, the kind that could turn respect into doubt overnight. Memphis voices online claimed they knew what was really going on behind those walls. One particular voice came out strong, making bold claims, said Pooh Shiesty was getting extorted, forced into uncomfortable situations, even made to stand while eating. And then came the big moment. They said when asked if he was one of the 5 or just a rapper, he chose rapper. That hit heavy, because in that world, that answer means everything. The talk didn't stop there. Claims kept rolling, said he was getting moved around, taking orders, treated like he wasn't in control. Then came another wild piece. that he had to freestyle and perform just to keep things smooth. Imagine that, millions of streams outside, but inside rapping just to stay good. If true, that's pressure on a whole different level. As time went on, the rumors kept growing. Blogs picked it up, people kept talking, and his name started taking hits while he couldn't even respond properly. Same voices labeled him all kinds of things. Words that could end a career if people believed them. But here's the part people don't talk about enough. The money. Pooh Shiesty didn't walk in broke. He had real money behind him. And in federal prison, money changes everything. While others scraping by, a funded commissary account puts you in a whole different lane. We talking stacked ramen, tuna, snacks, full meals built from commissary. He even confirmed later he was eating steaks in there. Real food, not just survival meals. That makes sense when you understand how things move inside. Money lets you trade, pay for better cooking, and live way different behind the same walls. But that kind of money comes with attention too. Because when people hear you got funds flowing nonstop, yeah, that can make you a target. So the whole question about pressure and extortion, it's not simple. Money can protect you, but it can also bring problems right to your door. Then comes the topic that really gets people talking: protective custody. That label carries weight, whether fair or not. In paperwork, it's about safety. But in prison culture, it gets viewed different. Rumors started saying Pooh Shiesty had ties to PC status at some point. Now, whether that was his choice or just prison administration making a call, that's a whole different discussion. Because when someone high profile comes in, the system sometimes steps in automatically. Think about it. If something serious happens to a known rapper, that's national headlines. So the system might move first, no questions asked, but the streets don't care about those details. To them, PC means one thing, and that label started sticking to his name while he was still inside. And here's where it gets messy. Some people claimed he stayed in PC. Others said they saw him in general population moving normal. That kind of contradiction, it shows not everybody talking really knows the truth. Then everything takes a turn. When the rumors got too loud, that OG stepped in, 32 years in, solid reputation, not someone chasing clout. He went live and shut it down, saying those stories were straight cap. Said Pooh Shiesty stayed in his lane, handled his business, and wasn't out there acting wild. According to him, there was no weird behavior, no nonsense like what people were pushing online. And when someone with that kind of background speaks, people listen differently. After getting out, Pooh Shiesty spoke on his experience too. He talked about cooking daily, handling himself, making the most out of a tough situation, not just surviving, but adapting. And that right there adds another layer to everything people thought they knew. This man said he was eating steaks, real steaks, not no dried up snacks or prison struggle meals. When the interviewer tried to double check, Pooh Shiesty made it clear. He wasn't talking luxury steakhouse vibes, but he was definitely eating better than most people in there. That alone says a lot. Either somebody had his back, or he had enough respect and resources to stay comfortable. And when you remember the money sitting on his books, yeah, it starts adding up real quick. He also spoke on his daily routine, and it wasn't what people expected. While others were caught up in prison drama and politics, Pooh Shiesty stayed locked in on music, writing nonstop, stacking verses, planning moves for when he touched back down. That kind of focus hits different. It shows his mind wasn't stuck in survival mode, it was locked on the comeback. And then there's this, he even tapped into $1 million worth of game while he was still inside. Think about that for a second. Calling into a major podcast from federal prison is not normal. That takes connections, resources, and a certain level of access most inmates don't get. That's not random, that's position. The OG who stood up for Pooh Shiesty broke it down simple. In federal prison, if you moving wrong, word spreads fast. No hiding, no secrets. So the fact a man with over 30 years inside was willing to speak up and defend him, that carries serious weight. But the streets, they weren't letting it go that easy. The same guy making accusations came back even louder, doubling down, saying Pooh Shiesty was getting checked. He tried to build his own credibility too, talking about how he had money before rap, been across the country, did time, and knew how to spot real versus fake. He was pushing his version hard. Now let's talk about something people don't really break down. Being famous in federal prison is a whole different type of pressure. It's not the same experience as a regular inmate, not even close. Most people on the outside don't understand how complex that situation really is. When you walk in as a known name like Pooh Shiesty, your reputation hits the building before you even do. Guards already know, inmates already know, administration already watching. And that kind of spotlight, it brings all kinds of energy with it. Some people want to get close, thinking it benefits them. Others want to test you, like your fame is something they gotta challenge. Some genuinely respect you and your music. And then there's those looking for opportunity because they know you got money and connections. Every move becomes calculated. Now imagine dealing with all that daily while trying to stay out of trouble, protect your mental, and finish your time clean. That's the reality he stepped into. The celebrity tax is real. Everybody expects something, and you gotta figure out fast who's genuine and who's running a play. Then there's visitation. Regular inmates might see family once in a while if they lucky. But a known rapper, that's lawyers, managers, label reps, family, all trying to get access. That kind of traffic doesn't go unnoticed. When your name keeps getting called for visits, it creates tension in a place where most people got nothing but time. Some inmates respect it, others start feeling a way about it. That's just how it goes. And then you got the phone situation. Phone time in federal prison isn't cheap or unlimited, but when you got money, you move different. Pooh Shiesty was reportedly staying in touch with his team, keeping up with the outside world, staying connected to music. That kind of access is a luxury inside. Most people in there can't even imagine that level of communication. So now you got two completely different stories floating around. One side saying he was getting pressed, losing commissary, being disrespected. The other side saying he was solid, moving right, and staying out the way. But let's focus on what's actually known. Pooh Shiesty did his time without any major incidents hitting the news. And that matters, because when something serious goes down in federal prison, especially involving someone known, it usually gets documented. Those claims about him being forced to perform for protection, they don't really line up with what he said himself. He consistently talked about focusing on music and keeping a low profile. That's a completely different picture. Now look at the psychology behind all this. Anytime a young artist blows up and then gets locked up, people start talking. Some support, others try to tear it down. That's part of the culture, whether people admit it or not. The guy making these claims sounded deeply invested in discrediting him. Kept repeating his own background, his own history, trying to prove why people should believe him. That approach, it raises questions. Meanwhile, that OG defending Pooh Shiesty had nothing to gain. Someone doing that much time isn't worried about clout or internet attention. When they speak, it usually comes from what they actually saw. And then look at what happened when Pooh Shiesty came home. He didn't disappear. He didn't look broken. He popped right back out, music buzzing, fans locked in, energy still there. That kind of bounce back tells its own story. Another detail people overlook. He didn't come home doing long interviews trying to prove how tough he was. A lot of artists do that to rebuild their image. He didn't really move like that. Stayed quiet, stayed focused, let the music speak. That kind of silence, it can say more than words. It shows a different type of confidence. No need to over-explain, no need to convince. And this whole situation points to something bigger. Every time a young successful rapper gets locked up, people start circling. Stories pop up, narratives get pushed, and not all of it is real. Memphis especially got its own politics. Different sides, different crews, real competition over who represents the city. So when Pooh Shiesty blew up on a national level, that spotlight didn't just bring fans, it brought pressure too. The allegations around Pooh Shiesty follow a pattern we've seen way too many times. A rapper blows up, gets locked up, and suddenly stories start popping out of nowhere about them getting embarrassed behind bars. Their name takes hits while they can't even speak for themselves. But here's the truth. When you really dig into most of these stories, a lot of them don't hold up. Let's talk real about prison politics. Federal prison is not county jail. This ain't a place where people waking up every day trying to snatch somebody's commissary for fun. Most federal inmates are doing serious time, and they got bigger things on their mind. They already locked into their own situations, their own routines. So the idea that Pooh Shiesty was being forced to freestyle just to survive, that doesn't even add up. If somebody was really trying to pressure a rapper in there, it wouldn't be about performances. It would be about money, connections, or leverage from the outside. That's how things actually move. What makes more sense is what that OG already said, that Pooh Shiesty stayed low, handled his business, and focused on his music. That's the smartest way to do time, especially when you young and got everything to lose. No extra attention, no unnecessary problems. And look at who was speaking on his name. Multiple people came out backing him, saying he was solid. Meanwhile, the loudest accusations came from voices that sounded like they had something personal against his success. That contrast says a lot without saying everything. Now fast forward to when he came home, that's when action starts speaking louder than rumors. Pooh Shiesty didn't come back looking defeated. He came back working, dropping music, reconnecting with fans. That kind of energy doesn't come from somebody who got completely broken down. And here's a fact you can't ignore. The government originally pushed for 10 years. He ended up serving about 3. That don't just happen randomly. Good behavior, staying out the way, handling your time right, that plays a role. You don't earn that by being reckless or constantly caught in problems. But just when it looked like things were leveling out, the story took another sharp turn. After getting out in October 2025, he barely had time to settle in before restrictions kicked in. Heavy, he was placed in a residential reentry facility in Dallas. Basically a halfway house with strict rules on movement and daily life. And then things escalated again. Not long after getting out, he ended up facing another arrest. Details still coming together, but supervised release violations are serious. One mistake, and you can get sent right back fast. Then early 2026 hit, and it got even more intense. The FBI showed up at a family home in Memphis. When federal agents pull up like that, it's not random. They were looking for something, and that kind of move raises serious questions. Now, whether that situation ties directly to the rearrest or something separate is still unclear. But the pattern, it's hard to ignore. Things keep happening around him, and it keeps his name in the spotlight for more than just music. Here's the deeper conversation though. Pooh Shiesty is still young, came up out of Memphis, one of the toughest environments, and reached platinum success early. That kind of rise brings pressure from every direction, and it's not always simple. Is it past tide still? Catching up? Is it the spotlight making him a bigger target for law enforcement? Or is it a mix of both? That's where things get complicated. Federal supervised release is no joke at all. You got rules on where you go, who you see, what you post, how you move. For someone in the music industry, that's a tight box to stay inside. One wrong step and everything can flip. Trying to rebuild a career while dealing with all those restrictions, that's a serious challenge, especially when people, opportunities, and distractions are pulling you in every direction. And here's something people overlook. Federal prison is designed to test you mentally. The fact that Pooh Shiesty came out still focused, still creative, still connected to his audience, that says something about how he handled his time. But surviving prison and navigating the outside world are two completely different games. Different rules, different pressures, different consequences. And right, now that second test is still playing out in real time. That OG who spoke up for him said it best. In federal prison, the real ones make it through, and the ones who aren't built for it don't. The fact that Pooh Shiesty made it through his sentence with his mind and career still intact, that speaks loud, but none of that guarantees what happens next, because the streets and real life after prison come with a whole new set of challenges. At the end of the day, these kinds of rumors hit almost every rapper who gets locked up. It's part of the culture now. Stories, speculation, people trying to shape the narrative. What really matters is what happens after. And so far, Pooh Shiesty responded by getting back to music, reconnecting with his supporters, and moving forward, not like somebody defeated, but like somebody who learned something and kept going. The chapter after prison, that might be the toughest one Pooh Shiesty ever had to face. Being locked up is one battle, but stepping back into the real world with pressure on your name, that's a whole different war. So when people ask if those prison stories were real, I stick to what actually lines up. He was eating good because he had money on his books. He made it through because he moved smart. A respected OG with nothing to gain stood up and vouched for him, and he got home early because he handled his time the right way. Now compare that to the accusations. Most of them came from people with something to prove and nothing solid to back it up. That contrast says everything without saying too much. But don't get it twisted. Surviving federal prison and surviving life after release, two completely different skill sets. And right now, Pooh Shiesty is in that second fight playing out in real time. Memphis rap still needs his voice, his story, from platinum success to prison time to trying to rebuild. This is real life material. This is the kind of story his music always hinted at. No script, no filter, just reality. Now the big question is, what happens next? Redemption or setback? Either way, people are watching closely. That's the full breakdown. From what really went down behind those walls, to the money moves, to the rumors about PC, and everything that followed after he touched back down. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe the stories, or do you believe the people who stood on his name? Make sure you hit that like button if this opened your eyes. Subscribe for more real stories like this, and don't forget to share this with somebody who needs to hear it. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next drop. Stay sharp and stay solid.